Michigan, and I'm here with Dr. T,
Hello.
as we call him. And today we're going to be talking about a lovely, lovely, lovely exhibition, art show that took place at York College with some beautiful artworks by up-and-coming artists, and it was just a delight. Every piece really blew me away.
It really was. It really was. What we did was that, as most of you know, I work for the City University of New York. That's the day job. And we put together a fashion show for one of the major installations at York College. This was not a student show. This was actually a fashion show. We actually juried it and put it together in the whole 9 yards. It got quite a little bit of press, as you'll see in some of the footage here that we're putting together for it. But at the end of the day, we put out an invitation for all art students, art majors, our alumni, who had been registered and or are registered with the Center for Students with Disabilities to submit work. And we appropriately titled the show, Art Defined, Disabilities Redefined. Absolutely. And as you say, the artwork was amazing. It really was very good. I'm an artist, as you are too, and we speak about that in our interview there. So you know what? Let's go to the interview there. Otherwise, Well, as you see, we have a special show. We're in the art gallery at York College, City University of New York, and we have a very, very exclusive exhibition going on. It is entitled Art Defined, Disabilities Redefined. And what we have done is we have put together a collection of the finest art students from the City University of New York who just happen to be disabled. And as you will see in this footage, they are perhaps some of the most talented artists in New York today.
I concur. I was blown away by every piece that I saw here. It is evocative of every emotion and every reason of why people create art. It is expressive of your soul, your happiness, and your connection with others. And I'm thrilled.
Yes, art is amazing, right? Art is amazing. Yes, art is amazing. You know, I am an artist. I'm a writer, and as you know, and yes, absolutely. And you're a visual artist.
I am. I'm a painter, a drawer, an etcher. Now more of a digital artist, but I am happily embracing that world as well.
Well, let's just show them some of this footage, and yeah, we'll see you back in the studio.
The bead in your work, is it somewhere in between?
Yes, no, absolutely.
That the students are extremely talented, and an event like this is very important to showcase their skills, their talents, and to let the world know, you know, that the students have disabilities, but they also have amazing abilities as well.
I feel like there's lots of vibrant and truly expressive art in this show. For example, this piece, every shape has its own energy, its own color.
I said, yes, this is something that York should promote. This is something that will get these artists some exposure, and it will also give the artist a boost in terms of continuing to make their work, continuing to engage with the visual. That's what this gallery is all about. And I happen to be standing right next to one of our premier, the back wall, the wall that's featured that you can see when you walk into the gallery, see from the outside of the gallery, James Rizzuti. Whose work is dynamic, a little scary, a lot of fun to engage with. Maybe you could tell us a bit about what inspires you.
Monsters and creatures, hybrids. I like hybrids, like these beings that are like part this and part that. You know, half animal and half man is something that is consistent with the paintings I make and the drawings I make. Okay. Yeah.
Wow, great stuff, right? Amazing stuff.
Remarkable.
Absolutely. Now, one of the artists in the show is a student at John Jay. And we were very lucky because I'm not sure if it actually showed it on any of that footage, but for 3 of the artists we did interviews, and one of which actually came here for her interview. And what we want to do is show the footage that we had on the video camera there in the art gallery. So her name is Rafaelina, and she is a student at John Jay, amazingly talented.
Yes.
Very, very outspoken, which I love and appreciate, and just an overall strong woman all the way around. So let's watch her interview. A professor came with her and for the interview, and it was a very good interview. It was. So we want to share that with you now, and we'll be right back.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I'm Rob Fonts. I'm a professor of gender studies and English at John Jay College, and this is my student.
Hi, I'm Rafaelina Tineo. As an artist, I would like to convey and express social issues for social justice through my work of art. I get inspired about my surroundings, everything that is around me within a global spectrum. I come across, social issues like the Stonewall Riots movement, the legacy of Harvey Milk. At Young Jay, I transitioned from a forensic psychology major into a major of gender studies. And right there in the art department, I started, exploring mixed media, clay, intro to paintings, intro to drawing, and that's how, the passion for my art, came about. I want to question society, and I want to question the world, and I want to be able to visually present something that will make people think when they see and they approach it. I grew up looking at a God that was white with green eyes, and virgins that was, white, and all saints that were white, and little angels that were white. So in my narrative of Queer Angels Rising, I want to give space to a dialogue of there's many angels, there's lively walking angels that are advocates of justice and peace and in support of human rights. And so I created Pride inspired on Gilbert Baker's legacy and his pride flag. I created Harvey and his legacy. He lost his life because doing activism for these, causes that he believed in. And so that Keith Haring was an amazing artist that created an amazing legacy of work of art. So I want this series of Queer Angels Rising to be able to, confront a social patriarchal model that we have dealing with, for centuries. And looking into the future, I think is essential and important for us to have a platform where we say we exist and we're not going to stop existing, and this is who we are, and we belong in this world. We are angels too. Okay, for the art defined, disabilities redefined, I was inspired on this series of Queer Angels to claim justice to amazing activists, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. When I was taking classes and I learned about them, it brought tears to my eyes. Their legacy, their passion for activism and human rights, and how until today we see a lot of trans women homeless in the street. There's a huge lack of resources for this beautiful woman, and I say I have to create something beautiful that is in claim of justice for this amazing woman.
It's so important that her work be seen, especially in a context like this about thinking about rethinking what disability is, because people who are disabled aren't just that. They have a zillion other characteristics to themselves. And in gender studies, we think about this constantly. You're not just one gender or another, or in fact, there's a spectrum of gender. But we also think about, when we think about Sylvia Rivera, for instance, that she was a woman of color. She was homeless. She had a favorite color and favorite foods. People are people. And something that we lose sometimes in academic context, or for that matter in art, where we want to just consign conversation to how the brush strokes are executed, but rather than thinking about passion. I had a professor once who said that her work was love, and that she was privileged that work and love went hand in hand, and this woman does the same thing. Her life is in her work is in her life, and in the classroom and in the art studio, they all go together, even though it would be so easy to say that they don't. When she brings her art to class, she illuminates her other students, and when they bring their different perspectives, whether it's somebody who's a poli-sci major taking a gender class, or a gender studies major who is out also doing activist work, people bring very different shadings, but they all share their experiences as individuals, as human beings. And gender studies is largely predicated on the idea of intersectionality, right? That we're many different characteristics. But in its original iteration, it was also thinking about our vulnerabilities. Intersectionality was not just about our samenesses, but also the places in which we were vulnerable. And something she and I talked about quite a bit is this way in which knowing where our vulnerabilities are and where each other's vulnerabilities are is an opportunity for us to lift each other up, rather than trying to create a utopia where everybody's the same or equal. Let's create a menagerie where we are all ourselves, but that we have picked each other up, so that maybe Sylvia Rivera was less hungry, for instance, or some of your classmates who had never thought about what angels could be in the context of theories of gender and sexuality were illuminated by that kind of work. It's any time we start bridging these gaps, like this exhibit's going to do, we're doing the work that needs to be done to really appreciate who we are as human beings.
Again, another amazing talent.
I absolutely.
Right, I'll tell you, I am so proud of the City University of New York in its art department and its appreciation for theater and art and all things creative.
Yes.
You went to Hunter College.
Yes, as a CUNY alum, I can say that for me, there was no better place to get my undergrad education. So I applaud CUNY all the way.
Absolutely, and I too, I'm a graduate of Hunter.
Yeah.
Twice, my BA and MA.
Okay.
And then of course I stepped out and did my doctorate at Long Island University, another great school,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what we would like to do now is introduce an artist. Her name is Kayleen Salig. She is also a very, very talented young woman. She is 27 years old. She lives in in Greater Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And she actually calls herself the mouth painter. And as you'll see, some of this work is amazing.
Wow.
Yes, isn't it beautiful?
Yes, it is.
She is amazingly talented. She has a very, very positive attitude. As she states, my life has been full of challenges growing up with a rare neuromuscular disability, but I have never let that stop me from doing what I want to do, including creative art. I have lost many abilities over the years, but I will always find a new way to do what I love, such as teaching myself to paint with my mouth, as my arms and hands don't work like they used to.
All right. Thank you, Kayleen. Your works are truly amazing. And if you are ever in New York City, please do stop by Disabilities Redefined. We would love to have you on.
We really would. Thank you. So, a very debatable topic these days
Absolutely debatable.
is disabilities in Hollywood. And we've covered that a few times, actually, more than a few, I should say, and we will continue to cover it because every time we have a guest, something new comes up.
That's right. There's so many viewpoints on the topic, and all opinions are welcome and valid.
It really is, because on the one hand you have Hollywood, which is a business, and they want to make the most of what they can make with talented actors, whether able or disabled. On the other hand, you have the disabled community, which I'm a huge supporter for and have given my life to advance, that want to stand up and say, but wait a minute, you know, we can bring so much to this role, which is absolutely true. On the other hand, you have the ADA, American with Disabilities Act, you know, jumping in and stating, you know, that some sets and conditions might not be yes, exactly. On the other hand, you have the ADA jumping up and saying, but we need to make them that way, make it that way. So it really is, on the other hand, you have scholars who, again, in defense of Hollywood, who want then to turn around and say, you know, no, it is appropriate. But then again, a lot of scholars have never been on a movie set. They don't know what it's all about. On the other hand, you have, again, disabled actors who want to say, thank you, scholars, but you know what? We can actually take care of ourselves because we've been on the movie set, so let us speak. You know, so it actually goes inside.
Wow.
I've actually read a few articles where there was some inside conflict going on there. But as you have too, you know, I mean, it really is.
It just shows all of the layers that are involved. But I think the more that we continue to be open about it and discuss it openly, what we feel needs to be in every community, including entertainment, will finally get to a point that we feel is a solution for all.
Right. Well, the one that I did want to give a huge shout out, and of course I have a few articles here, disabled actors playing disabled characters, what a novel idea. The Oscars love movies about disability, not disabled actors, and why won't Hollywood cast disabled actors in disabled roles? All of which are valid, and check it out, read them. You know, read. We all, yes, as a college counselor and professor, read whatever you do. Read. Don't just watch us and say, oh, by the way, they said on Disabilities Redefined, whatever. Do your research. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. However, there is and we'll probably show this in edit, but TV comedy series launched to employ talent with chronic illness disabilities. Christina Grimmie's Music to be Used. I love this. It is it's a reality show called Sorta Supportive, and a new TV series that addresses chronic conditions and disabilities has put it together with writer-producer Travis Flores, who is a friend of mine on Instagram, a great guy, a cystic fibrosis survivor, and two-time double lung transplant recipient. Flores is a friend of the late Christina Grimmie, and the music of the former The Voice contestant will be featured throughout the show. I love this.
Wow.
We will, as discussed, post the link to this. Please check it out, and we will also post this article again on Instagram and our Facebook page, because it is a very good article. And again, Tamara, you and I really, we sometimes we agree, but we disagree to disagree or whatever. But I really believe reality show is the way to go.
Reality TV.
I think it's going to be the first major jump for Hollywood to realize the talent that is there
within the community.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yes, good luck to everyone. And again, Hollywood, keep opening those doors, and hopefully we'll make it there. You know, one of these days, I think we will. We were lucky enough to get an interview, and Tamara, you interviewed Dr. John Andre Jack, who is a strong supporter of the disabled community, who is a strong supporter of the arts, who actually works with at Queens College, City University of New York, with student activities. He's a dean over there, very prestigious position. So, what did you think about your interview?
I thought it was phenomenal. He is a delightful gentleman.
He really is.
So well-rounded and has so much perspective to bring to the topic, and then so much experience as to why it is necessary for students with disabilities, whether in acting, academia, medicine, whatever profession, for disabilities to be equally represented in those fields. And check out what he has to say. It was an amazing interview.
I think that a qualified actor who's also disabled should always get the disabled role. That means that we have to educate and prepare disabled people to be actors. And I think that that's very important. Also, I think that an actor with a disability does not necessarily have to have the exact disability of the character that he or she is portraying. Just the fact that they're disabled, they'll bring their life experience to the role. It'll be more nuanced. They'll have an understanding of what it was like to live with a disability. So I think first we've got to get more people with disabilities interested in the theater and acting, and then we've got to choose the disabled actor over the able-bodied actor, all things being the same, you know?
Yeah. Now, how do you think we can do that? How can education take a stance to encourage students to be encouraged to be in entertainment? What do you think the first step might be?
I think we do it the same way we encourage other children to be in entertainment. As educators at a very young age, someone sees a spark in a child in kindergarten and gets that child in the school play and gets that child to take up a musical instrument or, you know, take up some acting classes, and you encourage that child. I think unfortunately what's happened with students with disabilities is oftentimes family members, friends, and unfortunately educators say, well, that's not for you.
Yeah.
And even if they don't address it directly, they don't direct or push people with that talent towards the theater.
Yeah.
This article says 2% of characters portrayed on television are disabled. But other articles say as little as 1%.
Yeah, I would probably say the latter is probably true.
And I think that it's probably even 0.5% when you say this is not a TV show about a disability. We just want to feature an actor. It's a sitcom about this four friends, and we're just going to take an actor who's disabled and place them in one of those roles.
Right.
And not make it a show about disability.
Right, because they can equally be one of those four.
Correct, right,
Yeah.
because that's the reality
Yeah,
of the
right,
situation.
yes, absolutely.
I think that if the choice is between portraying a disabled person on screen or in the theater and not having the production that features a disabled person, I would say move ahead with the production,
Right.
even if you can't find a disabled
Right.
person. Because that would be the ultimate injustice,
Exactly.
is to say, we couldn't find somebody with a wheelchair for this role, so we wrote it out of the
take it.
script.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, you know, we need to start featuring disabled people, and if we can't find someone with that disability, then I think it's okay to use an able-bodied actor.
I would agree with you as well. I think another area that I'd like us to discuss a little bit more too, if we can, is just the effort that you have to put in
Yes.
to any field when it is a passion of yours. It won't happen overnight. You have to work hard for it. You can't just, you know, wake up one day and say, okay, you know what, next week I'm going to be in a Broadway production, and I just know it's going to happen, and because I have X, Y, or Z, it's got to happen for me. You know, someone has to make it happen for me. No, you actually have to make it happen for yourself, but you have to work really hard at it. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree. I don't think somebody should get a role if they're not prepared for that role,
Absolutely.
disabled or not. I think that it reminds me of what we always say, my wife and I, about our son who's on the spectrum, which is we expect the exact same things of him that we would expect of any 7-year-old. We just provide the support necessary for him to achieve it. So I think that we expect disabled actors to put in the same time, get the same education, but in order for them to do that, we have to provide the support educationally for what they need. Dr. T was talking about theaters not being accessible.
Right.
So we've got to make it so they can get to work, they can get the education that they need, and then at a certain point we will be able to demand the same qualifications of a disabled actor as we do of an able-bodied actor. but I think we're not doing our jobs to encourage and educate students in many fields, disabled students.
Yeah.
And that's where it's got to start. Parents can't give up on a child.
Absolutely.
Educators can't give up on a child. And not discouraging them is not enough.
Yeah.
If a child has an interest, whether it be music or theater or to go into a STEM major,
Yeah.
then the parents have to see that spark, and the teachers have to see that spark at an early age and encourage it.
Yes.
Because not encouraging it sends a very powerful statement.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you,
you,
Dr.
Dr.
John
John
Andre
Jack.
Jack, and you're welcome back.
Anytime.
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 Thank you guys for watching. Hey, it's been another great show. This is our collection show. We do this a few times throughout the seasons because we do little interviews
That's right.
and post those on our YouTube channel. But of course, we also are seen on TV here in Manhattan, which is streamed nationally.
Wow.
So whether you're watching us on YouTube or on TV, keep watching whatever you do. Tamara,
right.
you want to send us off?
That's right. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for many more great episodes.
Right. Well, we're not going anywhere.
We are
yeah.
certainly not going
We have
anywhere.
another show to do.
No, we certainly do. Stay tuned.